everyone, this is Emily French from Emily French Hoof Care. Thank you very much for joining me today for my second free webinar. Today we're going to be talking about hoof protection. This is a very important topic. A lot of horses are not comfortable being ridden completely barefoot. They might be comfortable in their area they live barefoot, but if they're not landing heel first while you're on them, then that means they're not comfortable using their heels and they need to have some sort of hoof protection. There's a lot of different options. I personally and professionally do not like metal horseshoes. I do not think that this is ever a healthy choice for hoof protection. If you're a person that likes to use horseshoes and that's what you're set on, then this webinar is probably not for you. The horse is made by nature and evolution to use their hooves a certain way. When the horse takes a step and bears weight on their hoof, the hoof is supposed to expand, and that gives proper blood flow, the proper amount of blood flow to the internal structures, to the sole and the heel bulbs and the frog, the tendons and the ligaments that are supporting the coffin bone. And when you have metal horseshoes on, the metal is not flexible at all, and you're just protecting the hoof wall. So this is not a great idea, because once the horseshoe is on, the hoof is not able to flex and get the proper blood flow at all. So what happens to tissue that doesn't get the proper blood flow? It starts to weaken and atrophy. And that's where we start getting a lot of issues. Just like if you want bigger arm muscles, if you work out that muscle, it creates more blood flow and you start building more muscle fibers, which makes the muscle bigger and stronger. That's the same with the horse. And if you don't use it, if you stop doing that, then the opposite is going to happen. There was a study done years ago on a barefoot horse versus a horse with shoes on and how they use their feet. And they found that a horse with metal horseshoes on is not as spatially aware of exactly where they're putting their feet as a barefoot horse. The barefoot horse is able to have better placement of where they put their feet. They're able to avoid stepping on sharp rocks, and that's why a lot of horses with shoes get stone bruises. They're not able to feel exactly where their feet are underneath them, and that's also why a lot of horses that have had horseshoes on for a long time start being careless with their feet and start tripping. So here is another fact that is really interesting, and it's a little bit mind-blowing. I hope it does blow your mind, but navicular is 100% preventable. There's no such thing as navicular in wild Mustangs. There's no such thing in navicular in our wild bucking horse herd. It just doesn't exist. So this means that it's a problem that humans have created, and it is entirely preventable. So please make changes for your horse before navicular syndrome starts, before laminitis starts. Nutrition is also a really big aspect to this. We're going to touch on nutrition next time. So now I'm going to show you the different hoof protection options that I use. I use hoof boots most of the time, but for my clients that have a hard time with the hoof boots or they just don't stay on properly, there's a silicone shoe that can be glued on or nail on if you choose, and it's soft and flexible, and it allows for the proper mechanism of the hoof to work. Let me go get my booting options and I'll be right back. I'm back with Deuce, and I have a few of the hoof care options that I like to use best. I've been wanting to try scoop boots, but mine haven't arrived yet. So as soon as they come in the mail, I'm gonna make a video about how to fit them and what they look like on Deuce. I've been using Easy Care products for a while. And here I have what's called the Easy Care glove. This is supposed to fit very snugly. It's best for horses that don't have a big dish in their wall and have pretty good looking hooves. If your horse is a chronic founder case or has navicular, these probably aren't the best fit. These are more for trail riding and competing. The next option I have, these are similar. This is called the Backcountry. It just has a little bit of a different gaiter. So these are a little easier to put on and take off, in my opinion, but they're very similar. They have more of a sturdy gaiter that horses aren't able to ruin as easily. This is just the shell. So there are some different options if you want to leave something on your horse if they're not comfortable where they live being barefoot. There are some glue-on options. This is just a shell. And then this is the last option. I do have some clients that really like these. This is just a silicone shoe that you nail on. Nailing something onto your horse's hoof, I think, compromises the hoof wall a little bit. But for horses that are in transition or people that the hoof boots just do not work for, these are a really good option. So to fit the boots, the most important thing, if you're using a really tight fitting boot like the glove, is that the V in front, if it's too small, you're gonna have a gap right here at the V. You want the V, if it fits just right, it's supposed to be a tight fit. If it fits just right, the V, you want the V to be spread a little bit like this. It's supposed to fit very much like a glove, hence the name. So let me get my camera in a different position and I will show you how to fit this on your horse. Okay, I hope you guys can see and my hair's not too much in the way. So the first thing about these that's important is you need to get the toe all the way to the very front. The toe always has to go in first. So what you do is you fold the gaiter back and then you put the horse's toe in. You can use a rubber mallet to bang on the toe to get it in, or what you can do is try to get it situated as best you can. Put the gaiter up and then let the horse step, and a lot of times they'll step into it. So let me show you what the V should look like. So this is what the V should look like. This is before I have buckled it. I can tell that it's all, his toe is all the way to the front because there's no gap. There's no gap right here where the V is, and the V is spread just a little bit open. So if you have the hoof up and you move the boot back and forth, if it's able to wiggle or jiggle at all, it will not stay on well when you're riding and it's too small. So then you just simply buckle the gaiter, not buckle, sorry, you Velcro the gaiter, and then off you go. So that's just a little bit about boot fitting. That's just the very tip of the iceberg. There are so many different brands you can try and so many different kinds. It's just about trying them and seeing which ones work best for you and your horse, which ones are the easiest to use. A lot of people have been asking me how I have successfully taken so many horses barefoot and improved their hoof care. So I have decided to make a step-by-step process on exactly how I'm doing that. So I'm inviting a small group of people through a founding members training program at half price. And although this offer is going out to many people, I only have very limited spots. I only have 20 spots available for this because I'm working on a couple other things as well. It's an invitation to work very closely with me. I will have live trainings, I'll have Q&As. we're going to be talking about really important things that not many other people are talking about. So if you want to reserve your spot as one of the 20 founding members for my training program, please message me. Next week, we're going to be touching on diet and common misconceptions about having a barefoot horse. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next week.